There are no such things as limits or obstacles, only opportunities. Step into the greatest version of yourself because what you do matters. Shift your narrative. You're listening to Opportunity Makers, where entrepreneurs come to take their purpose-driven business to the next level. Here's your host, Jim Padilla.
Hey, so glad you're back. Really excited to have you for another episode of the Sales Team Ready podcast. And again, all things here are sales and scaling. This is all about you being able to grow your business exponentially, make sales, be responsible, be profitable, then use that money to make your business viable and get yourself to a place where that business is viable. That's the journey. That's the journey you're on if you're in our world. That's the movement. And so many times in that space, when people are thinking about sales and scaling, we get really clever and we start thinking of the latest and greatest and all kinds of new hacks and widgets and technology and AI and everything else. But we forget to do the basics. We forget that business is built on relationships, and every business out there is run by people, and people are the ones that make decisions. And so at the end of the day, when you're engaging people, when you're growing your business, you're growing your team, everything is about people and relationships and being valuable to others. And so the conversation that we're having today is with my friend Steve Ramona, and he specializes in really understanding the power of networking. And I don't want you to roll your eyes and go, oh, another networking conversation. Yeah, maybe, but not the way that you're used to it. You're talking to people who are generating multi-millions of dollars and serving clients who are 7, 8, 9 figures and beyond because of our ability to deliver valuable, meaningful relationships to people, grow networks of people who are serving and doing incredible things in the world. And there's no difference between us and you and what you're doing. You can be doing the same. I promise you're going to get a few insights, tweaks to what you might be thinking, or something you can add to what you're already doing if you're already a power networker. And so make sure you pay attention, because Steve's going to share some concepts and some nuggets, and so am I, because actually he did a fantastic job as a guest of letting the host speak. So I think this might be the first podcast interview in a very long time where I spoke more than the guest. But anyway, Steve Ramona discovered networking was the real deal at a very young age. He's on a mission to teach the world how to do it correctly. His passion for the law of increase is his secret sauce. Podcasting now is the new way to network and build an incredible inner circle. The ability to bring value and the service is a skill that will increase your networking. So check it out. Enjoy the episode. Make sure that you give us a thumbs up or like. Give me any stars, comments, anything that you can do. Take one thing that you can do and give us some support on that, just so we can continue to grow our footprint and be able to bring greater content and make sure that more people are coming to you to be able to deliver the power and the value that you seek to grow your business and scale. Enjoy the episode. Awesome. So you just heard the formal introduction with the bio and all of that from me. But now, Steve, why don't you just tell everybody who's listening about yourself in your own words? Who's Steve Ramona? Why are you relevant in this conversation, man?
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate having me on the show and taking the time to do this. 18 years old, I started networking at a gym my family started, and it occurred to me quickly that I was meeting 40, 50, 60-year-olds, people way above me, not my peers, but they were giving me advice. They were giving me tips and then building relationships. And they're like, hey, let's go to lunch. Let's talk about your finances, or let's talk about an opportunity. And I realized early, this is a way to grow. And within the health club, I realized bringing value to their members. We grew to one of the top clubs in our Northern California area. So at that young age, I learned, and for 22 years, I worked for the health club in different capacities, eventually being a director. And then I just started using that network I built with the health club to build other businesses, network marketing. I built a recycling electronic business. And I just went to the network and the health club and go, hey, you guys need anything to recycle? I was killing it because I had made such great relationships and brought value to them. When I asked, people more than welcome, yeah, I'll pass it in referral on top of referral on top of referral. So really young, I was lucky to learn about this networking, connecting, and bringing value. And now I'm sharing it with the world.
Yeah, and I think we're typically preaching to the choir when we're, our audience. Everybody really understands the importance of relationships. Um, and a lot of times it's easy to overlook this stuff. It's easy. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I get it. I network, but there's networking and then there's networking. You know, if you go to network events of any kind, and I do, I don't go to the same kind I used to. Now I do things a little differently, more in like mastermind environments, etc. But it's all about networking. It's all about building relationships. And I wish that we'd almost lose the word networking because it sounds so unimportant these days. Yet I don't know that's how I've made the majority of the revenue we've ever created, millions of dollars worth of partnerships and relationships. The organic marketing, cold traffic marketing, all that stuff, that's great, but that stuff represents like 5% of the revenue we've ever generated.
Yeah. Virtual partnering, we could change it to. I just thought of that. Yeah, because networking, everybody's doing it. It's watered down so much. 'Cause I used to run 6 events. I've been doing it for 10 years, my first, networking group. And I've left all those, not in a bad way, but in a good way, because I want to make more time. For example, my podcast is my new network. And I run a mastermind and work with masterminds. And Jim, when we talked before, that was very, very in line with what we do. Working with these people that need value, but they're a high level, high quality business owner that's done well in their life. And they just want to keep growing.
Right. So when talking about networking and when people are, we'll just use the word since it's there and it's everybody at least has some picture, some sort of connection to what they believe networking is. What is networking?
Building relationships, not pitching. So as I say, serving instead of selling, before selling, because you're always selling. Even when you're serving, you're selling, but you're serving by bringing value. I tell people all the time, they go, what do you do, Steve? I say, first time I meet somebody, I'm jumping on Jim's podcast. How can I bring him value? Great guest, of course, be honest. But I'm always thinking when I meet people, what resource can I give them? What referral can I give them? How can I help them grow? Law of increase and think and grow rich. That's what got me going on all this. It just hit me. It's like I've been doing it. Now I'm really hyper focused on that and it comes natural. So when you're networking, bring value to people.
It's interesting because we've been in this recent transformation in our company and my field of awareness that the difference between value and valuable is 3 letters. But it's so important because value, the simplified way, it's like I could say value is determined by the one who delivers the value. I could say, hey, I just gave you my vault of content and it's the best content I've ever created. It's got tons of value, but if you don't consume it, there's zero value to you. But if I introduce you to somebody that can further your business or be a great guest on your podcast, that's not delivering value. That's me being valuable to you. Right. So valuable is determined by the end user. Value
Yep.
is determined by the giver. And think about that, guys. Because when you start offering stuff, if you could send me I've had people send me programs and stuff. I'm like, hey, I really, really appreciate this, but I don't have 11 hours to go through your stuff. What do you need me? Show me the cliff notes. Give me something specific. Right. So I'm trying to encourage people to be valuable instead of just add value. And especially now, because everybody kind of has a perspective of adding value.
Yep.
But if you can specifically say, hey, man, I happen to notice this about your pipeline or your email, and I have something that I can share with you that will immediately improve that particular one if you're interested. Right now, I can give you something very specific to something I already know you're doing and will use. And now it can be valuable versus, hey, read my newsletter on writing emails. Now you're giving me a job.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a great distinction. And I'm going to add to valuable. What I learned is bringing resources and referrals would bring in value, but to make you valuable, which I'm going to borrow in all my other conversations because it's perfect, is I met this gentleman months ago, $100 million in serving. He just served and made a ton of money, But one thing he told me as he went over my serving is you weren't valuable because you brought, and it's so perfect what you said. You brought value by here, Jim, here's 12 referrals and a tip. And then you go, Steve, how can I help you? I go, I'm good. Enjoy those referrals. I just turn value into invaluable. Or as he said, you turn them into takers because you give so much value to people and become valuable. If you don't give it, if they don't give it back to you, the universe changes. Once I learned that concept, my income blew up, my referrals blew up, my network blew up because people now want to work with me because I'm valuable. I just don't bring value. And I got to write that down because that's really good.
Yeah. It's a big thing, man, because being able to receive is so important. And most entrepreneurs are in the game of solving problems for people, but not having people solve problems for us, right? We just want to give. We want to be, but if you don't allow me to give back to you, then you're blocking my ability to be valuable.
Yep. This audience is one of the best podcasts right now because that's $1 million tip. We hear that all the time. Hey, I've got the $1 million program, the $1 million AI. That right there is $1 million because it's everybody can do it. You don't need no special skill at all.
No, and what I find often is that the things that make you most valuable are the things that are just most personal to you, but they don't necessarily have to be of massive monetary value. They're just, just like, I could send my send out cards thing, which is great. It's delivering value and it's nice, but I can handwrite you a note that costs me time and I put personal intention behind it and go out and give it to the mailman and it sends it to you. That's more valuable because it's got a piece of me in it.
Yep.
And then it is specific to you. So I'm going to send you something that's not just, hey, happy holidays, right? Something specific to it. One of the best examples, and this is what got me going on this, actually, this very thing is I have a gentleman who reached out to me because he saw my YouTube channel. And instead of just saying, hey, I have a new way to get you more views and more subscribers or more whatever, he said, I watched a video of yours and I have really quick insights that would totally change how they're viewed and perceived. Would you like me to share it with you? And I said, sure, I'll take that. He sent me a 6-minute video and he broke down my page and a couple of core concepts that were incredibly insightful and specific to me. And then he said, in the last minute of the video, he said, hey, here's what I do. Here's what my business does. If I can help you, let me know. I told him, I said, dude, I'm saving this email. I'm not going to use this right now, but this is a 2024 initiative. I'll be reaching out to you. And in that time, I've also already sent him a referral. I don't even know the guy because I know he knows what he's talking about.
Yep.
Right? He was valuable to me.
And to add to that, I hear all the time, I don't want to give my IP, my program, my platform away like this guy did. And I just had a conversation this morning. I'm like, you could give your whole program to somebody, but they can't drive the car. They're going to go so far, but they're going to stop because they need your insight, your mindset. You're the one who developed it. But then what is your look what you just did? That's the greatest story. You love what he did. He did it properly. He didn't pitch you. That guy's universe is going to change. One, you gave him a referral, so it changed there directly, but indirectly, something's going to come to him that he never thought would happen. That's happened to me 100 times this year. And I don't know where it came from, maybe meeting you or this or giving something here. But I tell people how, when, or where that serving gets paid back, you'll never know. Just know it's going to happen.
It's so important.
Yeah.
I've had people say, I actually I have a friend, picture her right in my mind right now. We were in a mastermind group and we had the mastermind group had us break into local chapters. So we had a Bay Area, Sacramento, quote unquote chapter. And she went to these networking functions and she's an extremely intelligent woman with great resources and everything to share. But she got really mad because she's like, I showed up and I showed up with leads for people and nobody showed up with a lead for me. I was like, it doesn't work that way. Just because you have give me 2 leads today doesn't mean I have 2 for you, but the next one that comes, I could, or the next guy over God takes care of this stuff, not me. It's not
Amen.
about us. It's not a tit for tat. It's how you're engaging with God and the universe and just the atmosphere and the energies of other people. And the more you give out without expectation, without that tie to it, I think that might be blocking her in general. If you're just showing up because you're expecting to get and not just give, that could be the very thing blocking you from the give that could be coming to you.
Yeah, no, that's so well said. And it's when you put it out to the universe, when she spoke it out, it gets out there. Your universe starts slowing down. God will start going, I'll pull it back a little bit here. Because you're right. Because people ask me, how do you know? I said, I just don't. But I know this year because I really, with my podcast and just changed my mindset. And Josh Top, who is my mentor and teaching me things. It just started happening. And it's the best world to be valuable to somebody. I'm gonna borrow that, keep borrowing that, Jim. I don't think you're gonna ever be unhappy when you bring. I'll give you an example. I went to the 49er game yesterday, Monday Night Football,
Okay.
and we met a bunch of people. I'm in the Bay Area, and tough game, but we won't talk about that. But there was a family there, and there's a little girl that I started playing with. I was valuable to her. She wanted to dance with me, and we just had fun. And so she grabbed my hand walking into the game, and she just said, "Hey, you're my favorite." Because I made her valuable to me. My time was valuable. It wasn't, oh, there's a young kid. She's a 7-year-old. Hey, nice to meet you. If we treat our adults like we treat kids that way, your business will blow up. And you know what? It'll blow up in a way where everybody wins. You're not just making $100 million and taking from people. Everybody wins in your inner circle or your mastermind or whatever you want to call that, your village. And that's so exciting.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, we could talk about this for a long time. I find that, I've been very blessed to, with our business model, we serve a lot of millionaires and billionaires, and we've been around a lot of really successful people. And I'm constantly defending them as a group, as a segment of people, as business owners, because so many people, well, the successful people, they're this or that, or they're greedy, or they've done this, or they've gone it by taking, or they need to pay their fair share of taxes, all this other stuff. I'm like, you just don't get it, man. I don't know. I'm not going to be naive. There are definitely going to be selfish-minded, me-focused people out there. But the higher levels of success that I've gained, and the more of those people I'm around, I just haven't met any of them. They're all givers. They all give first. Now, maybe when they were starting to climb the mountain, they were trying to do it by taking, but the higher levels of of height they've achieved, they've all figured out that you get there by giving.
Yeah.
That's just how it works. And it's not because, oh, well, now that I've made millions, I give. No, this is how you operate to generate millions. That's how it works.
Yep. Yeah, they say when you make a lot of money, that your true athletes talk about this all the time. Pro athletes say when you make a lot of money, your true character comes out.
Right.
It's true. You're right. There are some billionaires that are taken, and millionaires are takers are going to do it until the day they die for whatever reason. But what kind would you live if you were just gave back? How would you feel? How would people treat you? You gain the edge podcast. That's why I'm so excited to be on here, because this is an edge. We have all these tools, AI, they're all great to get the edge. But we're talking about, again, I'm going to go back to it's super simple. Me and you are not special, but we special because we take action that way. And
Amen.
that's what people need to understand.
And you have to do it without, I mean, you need to track. If you're in business, you should be tracking all of the action that you do, so you know what actions are providing what kind of results. But more than anything, it's data. It's just feedback. But you don't give with a ledger. You just give. And
Yep.
you give, and that's because I will tell you this, my experience, it's not a 1-for-1. It's not, you're going to give twice as much. Maybe you're going to give 10 times as much. Some of you are going to give 1,000 times as much, and you'll become a billionaire.
Yep.
Right. So it's not like, well, I've given to at least 12 people and I've done this. You just keep doing it. Maybe you're doing it with the wrong heart. Maybe you're doing it with the wrong perspective. If the reward hasn't come back yet, that's okay. It doesn't mean it's not coming.
Yeah.
You just keep giving and keep giving with the right intentions. And by giving, it's not just giving your I'm not saying give your products and values and services away. It's give your perspective, give your support, give your endorsement, give whatever you can give that can be valuable to other people. And
No,
sometimes it's just your time.
yeah, and I'll give you a great story. I met Jason Wilson. Shout out to Jason. He's in Colombia living, and we met. I remember it was a Saturday, and our first 5 minutes in, this is a great tip, audience. I was thinking right away. I met Jason. It was a referral, and I'm thinking, okay, as he's talking, how can I help? And he talked about YouTube. So I stopped and I said, hey, can I give you a tip on YouTube, how to make your podcast in the category? He goes, yeah. 5 minutes. I show him. He's like, Steve, this is awesome. You're amazing. Now, am I amazing? Maybe that doesn't matter. But I thought of how to bring him value. He's now become my best friend. He's launching this thing. He wants me to work with him. I've given him some referrals. He sent me referrals, says great things about me. Audience, imagine 1,000 people doing that for you monthly, or 5,000 people. Your abundance is going to come pretty quick.
Just imagine if one person does that for you a month, right? And we, I'll give you an example too of what we've been, my wife and I, we've been very focused on streamlining our business. We're shifting our business model a bit as we're moving to 2024, but we've been really laser focused on ensuring that our business is not just, we don't just use our business to deliver our purpose and, and support. We are trying to build our business as the purpose vehicle so that everything the business does delivers on our purpose and generates more prosperity and more for other people. And so as we have shifted into this requires adjustments inside of us, inside of who we're being and how we're showing up, how we connect with God and everything. And just in the act of the intention of doing this, all of a sudden in the last week, I've had multiple people who are extremely successful, high nine figures, I mean, real legit business people that, that we've been blessed to be a part of their worlds, et cetera. And they're reaching out saying, hey, how can we help you? Cold out of the blue call from former colleague, partner. He's like, I feel like 2024 is coming. I just feel like I want to help you. What can I do to, let's look at these collaboration opportunities. We have this going. How can we help you put this in place so that you guys can generate a bunch of revenue and support and financial literacy for your clients and stuff. But it's all, and yeah, there's business in it, but it's led with, I was thinking of you. And I had an idea, which is my favorite line. That's our number one tip. You want to follow up with people, make sure you just reach out to everybody. Go through your list and just reach out to people and say, hey, Steve, I was thinking about you and I had an idea. See if he doesn't return a phone call or want to get on a call with you. Right. Because it's coming with the right spot.
Yeah.
So, but it's literally, right now, we've already got 3 deals that are lined up that we're going to be pursuing after the first of the year, centered around that have all been outreach to me as a result of just how we're showing up for other people. And talk about you never know where it shows up. I'm talking more than you are today, but as a result, I didn't reach out to any of them. One of them was on my podcast, but he just reached back out to me. And then the other 2 were just people reaching out saying, hey man, or we had a meeting about something else altogether. And then the meeting turned to, hey, I have this thing I wanted to help you with.
Yeah. I love it. And on the opposite side of that, I tell people all the time in our group, in our mastermind, I mean, Josh talk about it, is your business not making money right now. It's slow, which happens with everybody. Go out campaign for somebody else.
Right.
A coach that get an affiliate link or whatever way you work it out and spend one day, just reach out. Hey, you looking for a coach? Anybody looking for a coach? I've got a great coach for you. Or are you looking for a PR direct, somebody will do your PR? I met somebody this morning. Same thing. And you'll make money that way as you're growing your business. So finances are not, and what a win-win. You promote them, they pay you, the client gets a great coach, PR, whatever that business is, because you vetted them and you know them and totally. they do a great job.
Yeah. I spend time, I have chunks of time on my calendar where there's a couple of different days a week where I spend 2 hours a day doing nothing but what I call it power connecting time, but it's reaching out to people for the purpose of reaching out. There's no intended business to be done. It's just building relationships. But sometimes in that time, I don't reach out to them. Like maybe if Steve's book just released today. Awesome. Let me get it. let me go Facebook Live and let me read a chapter
Wow,
and promote it. All of a sudden, everybody's like, "Oh wow, you know, I didn't ask for anything. There's no affiliate, nothing. There's just me uplifting my friend." Right. And then
serving.
that you'd be amazed at what kind of ROI you get on those and that kind of quality engagement.
And then the
Total
people
selfless.
thinking, well, how am I going to make money is now you're top of mind. You just did this great thing. Go, Jim, by the way, what are you doing now? Well, I'm doing this. Well, you know, it's funny. I've been looking for that. Hey, can we? And then they hire you as a client, you know, as a
Right.
business
Yep.
because you've done such a good thing. You show up, people go, what do you know, and that's what I teach people. Go through your contact list and reach out with a quick question. You're a coach and you're looking for realtors, say, you know, a great realtor. I'd love an introduction. Like you did on that, it's super simple. You're not selling them, but you know, those people in your contact list, you like them something. They're there for a reason. Of course, the ones that don't, you know, but three things are going to happen. One, they're going to give you a referral, great, or multiple. Two, they're going to ask you, I don't have a referral, but what are you doing now? Which now you got a new call. I mean, that's a new call because it's somebody who doesn't know what you're doing. Then you tell them what you're doing. Or third, nothing ever happens. And all those are good because you're going to reach out to number three again with another question. Hey, do you know an entrepreneur that you've worked with or whatever that quick question is? And I'd love an introduction. You could do that monthly and generate so many leads, warm leads, loving leads, I call them.
Right. Yeah. There's so much in all of
Yeah.
this. And it's again a basic conversation. What's networking? Right. I mean, it's something that is that's drastically over abused and has lost its flavor because of the
Yeah.
way people do it. But that's how everything is. Everything, you know, the 80-20 rule applies, the 90-10 rule applies. And you just got to be one of the ones who's the 10 that know
Yeah.
how to do it differently, that get a bigger bang for the buck because you care about what you're doing. It's just like with sales. I mean, dude, everybody sells, but there's a lot of people who teach us like we just teach things differently. We teach a matter of how you show up in a relationship is what's going to lead to conversions. It's not about the tactics and the strategies. Those are all secondary, you know.
Yeah.
So what along these lines here, you know, I mean, what are you guys teaching from business concepts? You're building networking, and you know, we were just talking about some packages that people, you know, are hiring you guys for, and you know, you mentioned some marketing tactics that a lot of people, again, just like networking, could easily think are just overused, abused, and just not very relevant anymore.
Yeah. You know, the thing that we do, we call a hot seat. Very, very cool way of building business because a lot of virtual networking businesses or networks that we go to, and the ones that are in person as well, I won't name names. They're really talking business. Hey, I'm a realtor. I'm looking for XYZ. I'm talking business, and that's okay. But when we do a hot seat, it's doing business. Okay, Jim's looking for this, this, and this. This is what he does. Okay, guys, you millionaires, jump into your network. Who can you meet? Well, guess what? One guy said, I'm going to introduce you to Donald Miller to be on your podcast, who wrote the book, The Story Brand, which everybody knows.
Right.
I had Bob Berg, who wrote The Go Givers. Same way that happened on a hot seat. So getting in that network, building the relationship and getting that network is one of the best tips in the world because guess what? It's long lasting. It's not short term because then something
Right.
else is going to come up or they're going to come to you or whatever. It just keeps evolving and growing and evolving to where you look around and you're a multimillionaire with multimillionaires going, hey, what do we want to do next?
Well, and then all of that is again about the power of the intention because
Yeah.
I've been in hot seats, and I'll be honest, there's been times where I've tried to get myself out of it. I'm like, I don't want to be on a hot seat on that. I'm going to talk about my business. I want to talk about, you know, I want to know what's going on in your business, so I know I can help it, right? But then I'm removing the opportunity for people to really shine, and you'd be amazed. You know, you just mentioned, you know, Donald Miller and Bob Berg, and um, the crazy thing that I love about the online business world in 2023, being born in this time for a time such as this, excuse me, is that you are literally like 2 clicks away from darn near anybody on the planet now. And you never know who knows who.
Why
You'd
you
be hard
show up?
pressed to find any person of significance, of substance, of that's done anything, accomplished anything in any area that if you just ask around, there's somebody who knows somebody who's got them on the short list or got them on the speed dial.
Yep.
And if you don't ask, you're never going to get it.
Let's say the door is open, you got to walk through the door. You might have to walk back out because it didn't work for you. That's okay. You don't take that chance. You're never going to know. I've had people, I'm not feeling too good. I had a guy miss a $10,000 job.
Yeah.
Got it all set up, got a referral. He was going to meet in this virtual networking group. He was sniffles that day, decided not to show up. Where's your guy? Oh, he's not feeling good. He'll be here next week. The next day I hired somebody else.
Right.
I understand you've had COVID, death of, there's events in life that keep you from it. But I think it's 10% of your life. That 90% of the time you show up, great things are happening. They're happening to me and you, Jim. Just go through that door. Again, if it doesn't work, you pass off, you shake a hand or whatever and say, move on. But there's always something you can give somebody. Bless you.
Yeah. And, people listen, you got to recognize too, that I can say this with certainty. We get a lot of referrals. We're good at it. We take care of people. We build great relationships. We serve people. We've had referrals from some clients that we didn't even serve well because they knew we didn't screw them over. They knew it just the opportunity didn't pan out, but they appreciated everything that we did and our entire approach about it. We've had some of our biggest referral partners have been people who never spent a penny with us, but we treated them right in the process. They're either a mastermind colleague or a networking buddy or somebody that they just see us show up with integrity time after time after time, or interview you really well and just show up and say, hey man, how can I feature you? And how can I put you on the spotlight? And they just love the way you do it. And then all of a sudden they're sending people your way.
Yeah.
It's just, it's not a financial transaction.
Nope.
It's a way of being.
Nope. It's all energy. Money's energy, financial, all energy. And that energy can be put aside a little bit to just take. I mean, we see it. I mean, you go on LinkedIn now, they've actually just found out today that LinkedIn, you can only leave 4 notes a month now. I used to leave a note, man, I love what you're doing here, Jim. Let's connect and get to know, see how we can help each other. Can't even do that anymore because the pictures have ruined it for all the good people.
Right.
And that's okay. You just got to kind of pivot and move with the punches. But FOMO and the COVID and the fear, we could look at COVID as a perfect example of serving. Who the restaurant industry pivoted to still serve their clients, their customers. I have a good friend, Dan, who has a restaurant. He put the outdoor, spent a lot of, probably the first 5 months of this COVID, he broke even. But he had customers still coming in, eating his food, reminding him. And then when he got to reopen, lines out the door because he was
Right.
there. He served them, literally served them.
Right. Yeah, it's being committed to serving, not being committed to the transaction and the function of the business, is being committed to delivering the outcome and the experience you want to provide. And there's a million different ways to do that, no matter what business model you're in.
Yeah.
So as we get ready to wrap up, I know the key focus here is that you're really leaning into the podcast as the tip of the spear for your networking vibe, which is largely what I do. That's where I build most of my relationships, and everything else goes from that. And I think this conversation has been a perfect example of how to network and build a relationship in a podcast. But what are the key components if you're talking to people who are doing interviews, connecting with people, or there's meeting people and networking? What is there, what's your top 3 points or things to be aware of?
And I'm going to be bold, Jim. And I just was having a meeting this morning about it. Podcasting is the new network. They're like, there's 3.8 million podcasts, 4 million podcasts, but I could care less. And I mean that in a good way with a heart. I care about my podcast. Who can I bring on? It's my network. It's my business card. I can go to Lee Steinberg and say, I'd love to have you on my podcast. Oh, that'd be great. Lee never would have been on my podcast or met with me without it. So that's the first tip. It's going to help grow your network and grow high quality people in your network. 2 is just take action and do it. Get out there and start recording. Throw it on YouTube. Don't care about the outcome. It's like anything. The more you do it, the better you get. I launched in October. I have now 252 podcasts done.
Nice.
I launched in January. So less than a year. Now I know people that have 250 podcasts in 10 years. I know people have 50 podcasts, and you know those people. And that's fine, but you got to take action, stay action. It's about consistency. This is not a run and do it and then, oh, I did my 50 podcasts, I'm good. Use it as a tool to build relationships like me and you have. We connected, you knew somebody, Josh, who we knew, and we're going to jump on, you're going to be on my podcast tomorrow. Shout out to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. What a great way to do it. But the other tip is I get to learn about my podcast guests, their pains, their successes, their loves, what they're passionate about. And then when I get done, I give them value, and then I get to learn more and ask them, hey, I've got this thing here. Hey, I need to connect you here. Here's a great partnership.
Yeah.
3 to 5 referrals, 90% of the time from people like that. Like you're saying, you start getting these, your emails flooded with, hey, you need to meet Jim, you need to meet Steve, you need Jim. I want your audience to think about that. You get 3 to 5 referrals today for your business, for your podcast, doesn't matter, to ability to connect with somebody. The last tip I'll leave you, you meet 10 to 15 new people a week, excuse me, you have $1 million business.
Yeah. As long as you're not showing up to pitch them, that's got to
Amen.
be the caveat.
Yep.
Because you could do that. And if you're focused on time and time focus, you're like, well, I can just have 15 prospects and then I have the opportunity to sell them. Yeah. But you're now everything's a transaction. And if that's how you do it, then you have to always meet a new 15. But if you meet 15 new potential partners, eventually you don't have to meet new partners.
Yeah.
Because they're
Yeah.
consistently opening the doors to other people who have the problems that you solve and need you in their world. And that's how you
such a
build
great
business.
point too, Jim, because that's where I'm at. I had to cut my schedule back because I was meeting 8 to 10 people a day. I mean, imagine thinking 8 people, building my network, building my relationships. I don't need that much anymore. So go out and build it. And I tell people, if you're out there 10 to 15 new people and you're pitching them, you're going to lose $1 million.
Yeah. It's a heck of a way to build a business. It works, but it's not what I recommend. And especially in today's marketplace. As you know, right now we're 4 days before the start of 2024 is the point of recording this conversation. But by the time you're listening to this, we're in 2024. And I don't suggest trying to go business in 2024 and beyond in a transactional vibe. You got to have a good network. You need people. Everyone's going to need each other. That's how we're going to overcome this monster of whatever's going on in the economy and the world. That's how we're going to be the solution, is by being there to support each other, grow each other's businesses with intention and purpose and clarity, and make this all go. And take this perspective. And I was going to save this one for your podcast tomorrow, but you know, I one of my biggest secrets to success is that I don't sell to people, I sell through people. And so when I show up on a podcast, I'm not looking to go, wow, Steve would be a great client, because he would. But I'm also thinking, you know, how can I be a resource to Steve and his community?
Yeah.
Like, and then I'm valuable to Steve, and then he now shares me with his community.
Yep. Well
And then
said.
if he's interested, he goes, hey, you know, what about me? You know, but I don't have to ask him. It's like, who do you know? Who do you know in your world? Do you have people in your world that have this problem and might be interested in solving? Yeah, I do. One of them's me. But
Yeah.
that takes the pressure off the conversation too. I don't have to worry about making some kind of offer, and he doesn't have to worry about me pitching him.
Yep. Very uncomfortable situation.
So even when you're good at it, I'm in sales for a living, and I don't want to pitch people. Who the hell wants to pitch people, right? So, Steve, how do people get a hold of you? Where's the best place?
Yeah, you can reach me. I have my digital business card, infone.co/podcast, INPHONE.co/podcast, or Steve Ramona on LinkedIn. I'm always on LinkedIn. It's a place where I live.
Got it. And is there anything that you have, any resource or gift that you want to share? Did you put anything that you wanted to get out in front of
Yeah,
people?
if you want to reach out, I do a free workshop on podcasting. You reach out to me, I'll get you the date and I'll get you the link. Come on, I just answer questions about podcasts. It's one of my giving back we're talking about. As you start making money, I can do that and help people. And I don't care about my IP. I've got a unique way of doing it. But you could definitely jump on that workshop and learn more about podcasting.
Amen. And all that is going to be in the show notes. We got several links in here, including all the social ways to get a hold of of Steve and going to his phone and getting contact, finding out more information about what's going on with him and his network and his workshops, as well as getting on the podcast as well and making sure you're consuming all of that. You can pick anything in any place. There's so much content out there available, but be really strategic with what you're thinking of and what exactly you're looking for, so that you know if you're trying to grow a business through normal, natural means, which is building relationships with other humans, which is what we were designed for, then really lean deep into this conversation and I would encourage you to take a very serious dive into networking and relationship building as a concept and as a strategy as you move into 2024, because I don't know a better way, more effective, that's going to work for you to build your business, unless you've got a lot of money to spend on cold traffic ads, and you might, but this should still be a powerful lane that's in your business. So Steve, really appreciate you, man. So good to be able to connect, and just and thanks for letting me talk a bunch on my podcast.
You're welcome, Jim. Thank you. This has been great.
All right. Well, you guys, as always, we know you could have been any place else on the planet and you chose to be here, and we don't take that for granted. So we always appreciate you trusting us to be part of your success team on the Sales Team Ready podcast. And we'll look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Make sure that you rate, review, and subscribe. Hit the like button. If you're on YouTube, hit that like button and let us know. And just give us thoughts. Let me know what you're thinking about this. Let me know what questions you have about this conversation, so that we can bring Steve into it, forward them on to him, and just share more great things with you. So go forth, multiply, make a lot of money, impact a lot of people's lives, and set yourself up for a powerful next year.
Thanks for joining us on this week's episode of Opportunity Makers. Head on over to GainTheEdgeNow.com to connect with Jim and his team. And remember, there's no such thing as limits or obstacles, only opportunities.